What are 5 mistakes buyers make when looking at homes? I want to give you a few of the things that I've noticed over the last 20 years that home buyers make the mistake of when they start looking for homes. That way you don't make those same mistakes. So we're going to go through 5 different mistakes that home buyers make, and hopefully you can pick up on that and maybe not make those same mistakes. My name is Tim Scheib. I've been selling real estate for 20 years in central Iowa, and I've seen a lot of things. And if you are interested in looking to buy a home, give me a call. I would love to make sure that you don't make these mistakes and help you through the process so it can be enjoyable and fun. Let's start with number 5. We often hear agents say you need to get pre-approved before you look for homes. And it's very simple. If you don't get pre-approved before looking for homes, you don't understand exactly what you can afford. And you might go look at homes that are below the budget that you actually want to be in. And you just kind of, once you get pre-approved, you realize, oh, I can afford more. I don't want those homes. So you just kind of waste your time with that. Or you might get approved for something maybe less than what you thought. And then you compare everything to that beautiful home you already looked at, and it's a disappointment. We want to avoid disappointment. The home buying process should be fun. And the last reason you want to get pre-approved beforehand, if there are any hiccups inside of your credit report, because mistakes do happen, there is a thing called identity theft. You can pick up on those early and potentially get those fixed before you start the process. If it takes a while, those homes that you see today probably won't be on the market by the time you get those corrected. So make sure you get pre-approved. The next one is location over house. A lot of times a buyer sees a house, it has a lot of amenities, and it's got a great price on it. And they don't consider the location as much because it's the house that they're looking at, the house that they want. And at the end of the day, they might move into that perfect house and realize that it was priced a little bit lower because this location just isn't quite as good, whether it backs up to a busy road or it's next to a bunch of rental properties or it's just in a bad part of town. You want to make sure that you focus on the location before the house. So number 4 is when people take the house into consideration more than the location. Location, location, location is a thing, and it's a real thing. Number 3 would be letting emotions dictate your moves. Oftentimes, it becomes a very emotional purchase. Buying a home can be extremely emotional. And when you let those emotions dictate how you react and the different things you do within the process of buying a home, it can really affect you. For example, negotiations. Letting your emotions get inside of those negotiations can really affect you, especially on the seller side. Seller side just as much, but with a buyer, when you start going back and forth with the seller, just remember it's a transaction and you need to take it as a transaction, not necessarily get your emotions tied into it. Too many times I hear buyers get all upset and mad at the seller because the seller didn't quite negotiate back the way they wanted them to. But at the end of the day, it is a transaction. If you want the house, we'll do the best we can, and then you got to take it into consideration. A lot of times when we're just a couple $1,000s apart on a home, the emotions can get a buyer to walk away. And at the end of the day, that mortgage, a couple $1,000s, is only like $10 to $15 a month more. And if you put it in those terms, you take the emotions out of it, you just look at it as a transaction, you might have said, you know what, that is the house I want. That $15 a month isn't a big deal. Let's go ahead and do it. And you get the home you want. You let your emotions get into it, you get angry, you get mad, and then you might end up buying a home that wasn't as good as that one just because you let your emotions get into it. So take the emotions out, make it transactional, and you'll be a lot happier. Now, number 2 is draining all your savings. When you're looking to buy a home, a lot of times the buyers are trying to do everything they can to come up with that down payment and make sure that they can get the house that they want, and they forget about the money that they need to have saved just in case something happens. It's very important to have that separate set of funds because when you do buy a home, there are expenses out there. You know, you might have to move into the house and next thing you know, the AC goes out. Next thing you know, the window's not working or there's a storm that takes things out. It does cost money to maintain a home. Now remember, over time, your home will grow in value. It does cost money to keep that home in the condition so that it does get that value, but it grows in value much more than those little repairs that you make along the way in most cases. But you want to make sure you have the extra funds available, especially when you're looking at new construction. You might think to yourself, well, it's a brand new home. I don't really have to worry about maintenance. But then you move into the home and you're like, oh, it doesn't have blinds. There goes a couple $1,000s. Oh, we need to do landscaping. There goes $5,000 or $3,000. If you do it yourself, maybe $1,000. But there are a lot of things that go into buying a home, and you want to make sure you have those funds set aside to take care of all those things that come up that first year that you buy the home, because it does happen that first year. It's just crazy how that works. I had someone list a house for sale, never had a problem. They list the house, and then all of a sudden there's something that pops up and they need to fix it. Same goes for buyers. You buy the house. My first house that I bought, air conditioning unit went out about 2 weeks in. We had to pay, I think at the time, $600 to get a new condenser. So things happen. You want to make sure you don't deplete all of your savings so you can take care of those repairs that come up once you do own the home. And I say this for number one because this is one that I hear a lot of times, and I try and put it into perspective. Kids are number one in our life. The most important thing in the world to us are our children. And if you have kids and you're looking for a home, and someone says to me, well, we really want to be within this elementary school district. Now, whether you're buying in Ankeny or Waukee or Urbandale, all these communities are growing extremely fast. What happens when communities grow? They change the borders that go to the different schools. So you might live in one school district or one elementary region, like this is the elementary, this is one we want to go to. You move into that house, it could be a year later, those border lines change, and all of a sudden you have to go to a different elementary. So the other thing to think about are your kids are in elementary school for 5 or 6 years before they go to another one. You're looking to buy a home, and hopefully you're looking to stay there for 20 or 30 years or 15 years. So that small time period that they're in elementary school is very minimal compared to the amount of time you're going to live in the home. Now, if you're going to live there just for a few years, you're going to move up later on, that might make a little bit more sense. But I always caution my buyers, don't look at a house based on the elementary school, because those things can change on a dime. So make sure you're in the location that you want, which could include the elementary school, but make sure you're also getting the home that you want and you're not just settling for that house because it sits in an elementary district. I always tell my clients, if you move in a short period of time, I'll make more money. If you stay there for the long haul, you'll make more money. So make sure that you take these things into consideration, location especially, and make sure you're in the house, in the location that you want to be in for the long haul, because you will benefit greatly for that. Now, those are just five things that I hear buyers make a mistake of quite often. There are others in different situations, and we can go through those when you're looking for a home. I've been doing it long enough to know that there are more out there. I've seen more scenarios, and I can help you avoid making a mistake that's very simple so that you can be a successful homeowner. My name's Tim Scheib. I've been selling real estate for 20 years in the Des Moines Metro, and I would love to help you. If you like these tips and you want more like it, make sure you follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook.